Hi there, my name is Miss McVitie, and I'm going to talk you through how to answer the tone questions in the RUAE paper effectively. Learning intentions. We will learn how to answer tone questions in the most effective manner. We'll also learn how to achieve full marks in the tone questions. Success criteria. I can structure my answers effectively. I can understand what to look for and how to achieve full marks. It's important that you understand what you're being asked in this particular type of question. In this type of question, you're being asked to identify the emotion behind what the writer is saying. Now you can see your formula on the right-hand side of the screen. The first thing that you need to do is identify the type of tone that the writer uses. Now remember, it's not enough to say positive or negative because this is far too vague. You need to be very, very specific. So something like scathing or critical or ambitious or awestruck, something like that. A quick search on your computer will give you lots of different types of tones that you can include, so you must be specific. Then you need to quote and tell me what this suggests about how the writer feels about the particular topic that they're telling us about. Let's have a look at an example then. Context. Paul Doyle looks at football manager Jose Mourinho's response to Spurs' loss in Zagreb. I don't need external critics because I feel deeply hurt with what happened with my team. I don't want to say much more than that. On behalf of my team, in spite of some of them maybe not sharing my feelings and emotions, I can only apologise to the Tottenham supporters. And the question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer emphasises Mourinho's upset at Spurs' loss. And this is a 2-mark question. Now our first tip is to read the passage aloud in your head, and this will help you hear the writer's voice and identify the tone. And as this is a 2-marker, I would give yourself around 1.5 minutes per mark, so around 3 minutes to be able to answer this question. And if you want to do this on your own before we look at the answer, you should pause the video now and use a phone or your laptop or your computer to time yourself, because we're about to go over the answer. Okay, let's look at the model answer then. The first thing that we've picked out is the phrase deeply hurt. So we've said that he uses a disappointed tone, and we've quoted the phrase deeply hurt. And this suggests that Mourinho is upset and very saddened by the team's loss. Then we've said he uses an apologetic tone, with the word apologise, and this suggests that Mourinho feels embarrassed by Spurs' performance and remorseful on their behalf. So hopefully you can now see where the marks come from, and that we've used bullet points to structure our answer, and how we've used the template to be able to get to the point in a concise way. On the following slides, you'll see a variety of different tasks, followed by the marking scheme. Now, if I was you, I would attempt the tasks at home. So in order to be able to do this, you need to pause the video once I've gone over the question. Time yourself and give yourself around 1.5 minutes per mark. So in real terms, this means if it's a 2-mark question, time yourself for around 3 minutes. This will give you experience of what it would be like in the actual exam. Okay, let's get started. Question 1. Context. Paul Doyle looks at football manager Jose Mourinho's response to Spurs' loss in Zagreb. Mourinho went to Dynamo dressing room after the match to congratulate the hosts on their deserved victory, but he accused his own players of being unprofessional. Dynamo played with a lot of desire. I can also call it professionalism, because for me, professionalism starts with the attitude, he said, adding he felt more than sad that his players did not look like they were playing in an important match. And our question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer emphasises Mourinho's recognition of how well the other team played. Now this is 2 marks. So a little tip here is to look at how many marks are available, and this will make clear how many separate points you need to make. So for 2 marks, you would use the template twice. My advice to you now would be to pause the video and time yourself for around 3 minutes to be able to answer this question. Let's look at the answer then. First of all, we've established that the writer uses a celebratory tone, and we've quoted the word congratulate. And this suggests that Mourinho is delighted and thinks the other team deserved to win. This would get you the first mark. Then we've said the writer uses a respectful tone, and we've quoted the word deserved. And this suggests that Mourinho thinks the other team were worthy winners. So what did you get for this question? If you got full marks, that's brilliant, well done. If not, it's important that you can see where the marks come from. Make a note of anything that you've learned from this answer. Question 2 then. Context. James Tapper looks at the recent trend of dog thefts and how it has affected dog owners. More than 80,000 dog owners say they are more fearful of taking their pet for a walk in daytime, according to a survey launched after a spate of dog theft reports. The survey, by the Police and Crime Commissioner for Sussex, Katie Bourne, had nearly 125,000 responses, and she said the huge response showed widespread fear among dog owners about pet theft and a lack of confidence that the crime is taken seriously by police. Our question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer emphasises how dog owners feel about the dog thefts increasing. First tip is to highlight the words that you think are important. Now, obviously, if this was on paper, you'd be able to do that. Okay, and it just means that any words that you think are important are standing out to you when you attempt the question. Now, this is a 2-marker, so pause the video now and time yourself for around 3 minutes and see if you can do it in the allocated time. Okay, let's see how we did. First of all, we've established that the writer uses a worried tone, and we've quoted the word fearful. This suggests that dog owners are stressed and anxious, and that would get you the first mark. Then we've identified that the writer uses a stressed tone, and we've quoted lack of confidence. And this suggests dog owners think that the law is not going far enough to prevent the thefts. So what did you get for this question? If you got full marks, well done. And remember, if you didn't, it's important that you understand where the marks have come from. Make a note of anything that you've learned from this answer. Okay, hopefully we're starting to find our rhythm now. Question 3. Context. Adrian Horton looks at the female-dominated Grammy Awards 2021. It was a historic triumph night for women in music at the 2021 Grammys, as a range of female artists took home the top awards. Her took home Song of the Year for the Black Lives Matter anthem I Can't Breathe. Taylor Swift became the first woman to win Album of the Year 3 times, and the rapper Megan Thee Stallion won both Best New Artist and Best Rap Performance for her Savage remix with Beyoncé. Now the most awarded singer, male or female, and female artist of all time. And the question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer emphasises how important this night has been for women in music. So we've got another 2-marker here. So remember, pause the video and give yourself around 6 minutes to do it. Okay, the answer to question 3 then. First of all, we've identified that the writer uses an awestruck tone, and we've quoted the word historic, and this suggests the evening should be celebrated and momentous. That gets you the first mark. Then we've said that she uses a celebratory tone, and we've quoted the word triumphant. And this suggests the writer thinks the night is victorious for women. So what about you? What did you get for this question? If you got full marks, that's fantastic. If not, can you see where the marks come from? Make a note of anything that you've learned from this answer. Question 4. Context. Stuart Heritage looks at the new podcast from comedians Rob Beckett and Josh Widdicombe. Beckett has 2 young children with his wife, Louise Watts, while Widdicombe and his wife, Rose Hanson, have one, with another on the way. Each week, the pair interview a celebrity. Past guests have included Michael Sheen, Philippa Perry and Paddy McGuinness, whilst sharing stories about their upended domestic lives. It is fast, fun, and at times genuinely touching. Here, they share their thoughts on their pandemic pastime. And the question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer shows his admiration for the podcast. And this is another 2-marker, so we should know by now that is around 3 minutes. So remember to pause the video now and attempt this question at home before we look at the answer. Okay, let's look at the answer to question 4. First of all, that we established that the writer has used a light-hearted tone, and we've quoted the word fun. And this suggests the writer thinks that the podcast is enjoyable and entertaining. The writer also uses a sincere tone, and we've quoted the phrase genuinely touching, because the writer thinks that the podcast is honest and relatable. And that would get you your 2nd mark. So what did you get for this question? If you got full marks, brilliant. If not, it's important that you're able to identify where the marks come from. Remember to jot down anything that you've learned from this answer. Okay, second last question then, question 5. Context. Hannah Jane Parkinson explains her love for luxury hotels. My affection for the soul resetting balm of a single night hotel stay has long outlasted that relationship. To be clear, I'm talking about expensive hotels, ones that would be unaffordable for more than a night. I have stayed in most of London's ultra-luxurious hotels this way, sampling them as if I'm at a wine tasting. And the question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer shows her love for luxury hotels. Remember to use your bullet points and use the template twice. And again, you should be timing yourself for around 3 minutes for this question. Let's see how you get on. Answer to question 5 then. The writer uses an admiring tone. Affection. This suggests the writer has fondness and warmth towards hotels which are luxurious, and that would get you the 1st mark. The writer also uses a gentle tone. Soul resetting. This suggests the writer thinks hotels are places of calm and tranquility. That would get you your 2nd mark. So did you get full marks here? And if not, are you able to identify where you lost the mark or the marks? Make a note of anything that you've learned from this answer. Okay, final question then, question 6. Context. Amy Fleming interviews actors Carey Mulligan and Emerald Fennell about their new film, Promising Young Women. Promising Young Women is audacious from the off. A genre-bending revenge thriller, it ricochets between rom-com and horror to radical and unsettling effect. Carey Mulligan plays Cassie, a medical school dropout traumatised by the assault of her best friend. By day, she works in a coffee shop, and by night she fakes blackout drunkenness in bars. If nice guys take advantage, Cassie snaps open her sober eyes to teach them a lesson. And the question is, by referring to tone, analyse how the writer shows how much she likes the film. Okay, so we should be finding a rhythm here. We can see that it's a 2-mark question. So this tells us it should take us roughly 3 minutes. So remember, if you want to time yourself, pause the video now and set your timer. Okay, final answer then, question 6. The writer uses an excited tone. Audacious from the off. This suggests the writer thinks that the film is bold and daring from the very beginning. That would get your 1st mark. Then we've said that the writer uses enthusiastic tone, and we've quoted genre bending. This suggests the writer thinks the film is exciting and unexpected. So that would get you your 2nd mark. If you got full marks for this question, that's really great. Well done. If you didn't, can you please make a note of where the marks have come from? Because it's important that you understand that. Make a note of anything that you've learned from this answer. Our plenary then. I can now structure my answers in an effective way, which helps me to achieve maximum results. I can highlight keywords and phrases, which helps to identify the tone of the passage. I can use bullet points, which will help keep track of how many points I have made. and I can keep my answers concise and make my point as quickly as I can, whilst being accurate. Well done. You have now completed the different tone questions. You now understand the best way to structure your answers and how to gain full marks. Fantastic. Next steps then. Make a tone word bank. There are so many different types of tone. This will help you think about the different emotions a writer may feel. You should also never write positive or negative, as I said at the beginning, because you have to be much more specific. So making a word bank will help you think about the different types of emotions without just writing positive or negative. Thank you, Miss McVitie.